Ninja Theory's Hellblade Senua Sacrifice from 2017 did something many games have done. They put us in the mind of the protagonist. But the best way to fully experience the game is with headphones on, because hearing the voices that are driving her mad as she tries to make her way to Helheim to rescue the souls of her lover really help with the immersion. The story and the sound design stuck with me since then. So when Hellblade 2 was announced damn near 5 years ago, I've been patiently waiting for it ever since. I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, so 5 years for a sequel really ain't shit. So now that I got my ears and hands on it, let's take a look at Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. In Hellblade 2, Senua seeks revenge after slavers messed up her homeland and took her people. Now, just like the first game, the second game must be played with headphones to get the full experience, because throughout the journey, she's got to deal with the furries, which are the voices in her head. And the game brilliantly uses 3D audio to fully immerse you, and this really makes you feel what Senua is experiencing. The furries have an arc from the first game, so if you have not played the first game, it's best if you do, not only for the story reasons, but also to understand the type of series this is. The focus isn't really in the combat, it's the story of how Senua's dealing with her psychosis. And for that reason, I feel like it's not for everyone, especially the second one. It's very slow. There is a lot of walking and talking, but it's purposeful. I cared, but I cared because I played the first game. And I also cared because this game is gorgeous. It's so vile and disgustingly beautiful. There is a photo mode, which I hope more talented people on the internet take advantage of, because the art direction is top notch. We go from a nasty cave with black water to a beautiful sun-kissed field, and it all looks amazing. The cutscenes bleed into gameplay so seamlessly, sometimes I couldn't tell when I was controlling her. Not only because it feels like one continuous shot, but also because the game isn't telling you what to press and when to press it. There isn't a hub on screen either, which I think helps with the immersion. You do get a controller layout at the beginning, and the voices are kind of guiding you as to what to do. But as much as I love the setting and the mythology and the voices in her head, there are just way too many sections in the game between puzzle and combat where you're just walking and talking, or literally just holding the joystick up to move forward. Yeah, it can look beautiful, but it's really not that interesting. I'm just staring at her, crawling through murky waters, or climb up a wall. And with it being such a short game, around 6 to 7 hours, it wasn't a deal breaker for me, but it just happens enough where I felt the need to point it out. It is super linear, but it does open up a little bit for their collectibles. I think they did a better job in hiding their collectibles this time around. You have this post with the symbol thingies and the guy that pops up and starts telling you a story about some other guy. And the faces in the rocks with the tree lady telling you another story. I found the faces to be a super interesting way to hide them in plain sight. Because I'm blind, I did miss a lot of them, giving me a reason to go back and replay it. The cutscenes are fantastic, with some of the best mocap and performances I've seen in a while. So after you walking and talking or holding the joystick up, you come across your path being blocked, and to unlock it, you gotta find these symbols and focus on them. They also did this a little bit in the first game. And the other puzzles are flipping the world by focusing on these bubble thingies. There isn't really much to these in terms of difficulty. The environments and the visuals help you keep engaged at least, but it's more about the meaning of what she's doing. The changing of the world plays into her psychosis because she is experiencing the reality of the world differently. I did like going into focus every once in a while just for the hell of it, because it would drown out the voices, so if they're talking, they'll shut up a little bit, and I just like that detail. Now, combat is very simple, similar to the first game. It's pattern recognition. You parry, dodge, and hit them with light and heavy attacks. Later on, she does get a mirror that uses focus to freeze fools so you can go ham on them. And there are different types of enemies. Big dudes with maces, medium dudes with axes, smaller dudes with shields, and you must approach each enemy differently. Animation is just so fluid, it feels like you're playing out a cutscene, but it flows with what you're doing. And it also feels like you're watching some sort of movie with awesome choreography. You do only take on one enemy at a time, so when you defeat one, the other one comes in. But they try to make it organic. It's usually always by bumping into you from off screen, or sometimes they'll just kill a guy right in front of you. They just do a ton of different things to make it look natural. It did become pretty predictable quickly, but when I die, I just felt like I ruined the movie scene. And also when I died and I replayed the fight, they were doing different stuff. So it made me feel like it was very organic off of what I was doing in the moment, and it all ends in very gruesome, awesome kills. My main thing with Hellblade 2 is that it's hitting perfectly in the art department and feeling lackluster in the gameplay. I felt this about the first game's combat especially, but not as much as I did here. Again, I'm just talking about the pressing buttons part. I love the art direction, the choreography, all that is fantastic, but the gameplay feels very bare bones. Puzzles are simple, there are no upgrades, there's no extra weapons, there's no extra moves, none of that. What you start with is kind of what you end up with, except for that mirror. So a projectile like a bow and arrow would have been nice for puzzle solving or to use in certain sections. I know it might not fit with the intimate combat that we're going for necessarily, but maybe a section or so where you would have to use the arrow to fend off a few fools would have been fun. You kind of do it here with these lenses on fire a bit. So the void of something like that left me a bit unsatisfied in the gameplay department. Again, maybe they were afraid to take away from the core message of the game, I'm not sure. I do feel like the game is not for newcomers. I'm not saying stay away from the series entirely, I'm just saying start with the first one, and if you like that vibe, then check this one out. And if you're a fan, you should check this one out for yourself. I love the mocap, I love the visuals, the art direction, the 3D audio, the performances, the choreography. The story was okay, but it's all wrapped in Norse mythology, which I love. It's just that the actual gameplay part didn't feel like it held up as part of the deal, and it didn't really build upon the last game. It was just tweaked. And for that, I don't think it's better than the first game, and maybe my expectations made it not worth the wait necessarily. Again, maybe I'm being harsh. It's a beautiful game, I just maybe expected more from the actual game part. I do feel that fans will enjoy it, but it's definitely not for everybody. It's a certain vibe for sure. But all in all, at the end of the day, it did left me wanting more, oddly. I think that was their plan. Maybe that's why it's so short. I just want to know what's going on with her story. Her story is very interesting. She is a character that I do enjoy playing as. And they've added a few other characters which made it interesting. So I wouldn't be mad at a sequel. I just want them to know that they have the art direction down. Now if they could just focus on the gameplay part and maybe cut down on the walking and talking, then you have a perfect game. But of course, let me know your thoughts on the Hellblade series down in the comments. Did you play the first game? Are you planning on playing the second one? Are you through the second one? Anything at all, let me know down in the comments when you're down there. If you could hit the subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to always and forever, you're doing